Yo, what it do? You know what it is. It's that time. It's Take Back Friday. And you're live with Dextiago Capitalist, a.k.a. The Vulcan, coming to you live from PulseWaveTrading.com, home of the world famous PulseWave price trigger system. That's what we do. It's how we get down. And yes, we do get it in each and every trading day. We put the reports right in your hand so that you can be well armed and equipped and know exactly what to do with these markets, no matter what happens, no matter what is going on. All right. So I say we do what we do. You know? All right. First and foremost, it is Take Back Friday and it's quad witching. So we have expiration of futures, options on futures, stock options, and stock index options, all expiring today. What does that mean for you? Well, what it means is you probably want to get ready because you need to get strapped in because it's going to be a bumpy ride. Expect some volatility. These days are really weird when these things happen. It's hard to really gauge what and how the market will respond. Sometimes it goes in and out with a whimper. Other times there's explosive, and I do mean explosive volatility. So you gotta just kind of play it by ear, so to speak. Be nimble, be quick. Remember, the market is designed to hurt as many people as possible. So the first order of business, the market will try to do that. We covered it yesterday that the majority of positions are net longs. Everyone's long the stock market. So I wouldn't be surprised if the market closes in the red today, just to hurt all those call holders. You know how the market do. So we'll see what's up. We'll see what's up. We'll see what's up. All right, first and foremost, let's peep these overnight markets. Dow futures is up 360 points, trading at 26,259. NASDAQ 100 up 98 points at 10,080 and a half. E-mini S&P 500 up 37 and a quarter at 3135 and a quarter. The Russell My Hustle is up 27.7 points at 1445.4. Bitcoin Futures Composite Index down $10 at 9,400 even. Nat gas up a penny at about $1.65. Crude oil futures have broken $40. All right. The $40 Illuminati mark, because that's when the petrodollar complex, from the military industrial complex, that is the price where it spiked back during the first Gulf War. Right now we're at $40.25 a barrel, up $1.20. Long bond is not acting like the strong bond today. It's down a full point plus 1/32, trading at 176.12. That's 176 and 12/32. Looking at gold futures are up $14.70 at $1,745.90 an ounce. Silver is up 31 cents at $17.82 an ounce. The dollar weaker today, down 15 pips at 97.26. The euro dollar is up 27 pips at 112.58. Pound sterling down 25 pips at 124.01. The Aussie is up 48 pips at 68.96. Canadian is down 37 pips at 135.62. Euro yen is up 13 pips at 120.04. Dollar yen down 13 pips at 106.84. And the Kiwi is up 20 pips at 64.47. Now let's take a trip to the grocery store. Soybeans are up 5 points today, trading at 8.78 even. Corn up 2 1/4 at 3.33 1/4, and wheat is down a point at 4.82 half. All right, so that is what the overnight markets are looking like. It's Friday. You know, I like to do like a hodgepodge of stuff on Take Back Fridays. Some serious, some not so serious. If we can find anything like that, seems like everything is dire and serious these days. But there is something funny. How about this one? Black woman to Chaz residents. Planned Parenthood kills us every day. Liberals who took over downtown Seattle get a dose of reality. You know, it's funny when you hear other people say what you have been saying all along. You know, my this past decade on YouTube, I would always say things, and then people would, you know, be like, huh, what? It would go over some people's heads. And then where they see it or hear it, and when the mainstream media takes it and runs with it, then they're like, oh, okay, it makes sense now. So I find it funny that things that I talk about are then talked about later on down the line. So I thought that was incredible. You know what I'm saying? Because it's so true. It is very it's hypocrisy. Black Lives Matter say Black Lives Matter, but like I always have said on this show, Black lives don't matter to Black people because look at the enormous amount of murder that happens in the Black community. Not only do we murder our sons on the street, but we murder our sons and daughters in the womb. All right. No other nationality on the planet is so violent towards their young as the Black family. In order to find a comparison, you have to literally leave the human being species and go over to the animal kingdom and primarily the insect kingdom to find a comparison. The only thing I can think of off the top of my head is praying mantises. All right. So, what up? Okay. Let's deal with the elephant in the room. All right. They can't explain it. Okay. Now, a funny thing is that they said a so-called woke woman told the crowd that they don't care about Black lives and their true agenda is to get rid of the police. Quote, you just want to get rid of the police. You get rid of the police and we'll still go to the chop shop. We'll still kill our babies. You get rid of the police and we still kill one another. Why? Because we, as a Black community, don't have the fathers we need. We don't have the fear of the Lord. Wow. It's safe to say she just ripped them apart. She shredded them. She owned them during their own protest. That's really messed up when you get owned in your own protest. And it's already been exposed that the Black Lives Matter is nothing more than the political arm of the LGBTQ community. Man, my man, Young Pharaoh did a superb job of breaking that down. If y'all haven't seen that footage, that little mini documentary he did, I highly recommend you go peep that YouTube channel. Of course, there's no affiliation. I don't know him personally. I just think he does a stellar job with his research and putting stuff together. He's been very good at putting things together that I've been saying on YouTube for a decade. So hats off to the young man. Hats off to him. I mean, it's hilarious, man. Peace to everybody in the live stream. What up, Sling and Kyle and V Dub and Mick and 2020 Cool Cat, Prince Lakeed, and what's up, Student Sling? Everybody, what up? Smash that like button. Yeah, you know, when you really look at just the whole thing of what's really going on, man. Um, it's sad, man. It really is. What was I was watching something? I'm trying to think. I watch a lot. I watch a lot of things. I watch a lot of movies, a lot of like TV series. I'm really into British telly as far as their what genre would you put this under? Crime series, detective series. You know what I'm talking about? I think they do a superb job with that, way better than any American series, like bar none. They can't even hang with the level of writing and creativity that they put out there. But I love their crime dramas or all of that. I love it. But I have to tell you, in all of my viewing and watching things, and I've watched just thousands of documentaries and stuff. I'm a documentary buff. I love history and stuff like that. But I've noticed something. There's been as far as American TV, like there's a difference between Prime and Netflix. I have to tell you, there's a huge difference between Prime and Netflix. Netflix seems to be more agenda driven than Prime. Now, don't get me wrong; they both have all types of old movies and videos and stuff. But it seems like the Netflix has a bent toward the New World Order. A lot of their programming, especially their Netflix originals, they're more steered toward the whole New World Order type philosophies and agendas. Case in point, a show that I thought was pretty well done. I thought it was very entertaining. Travelers. Have y'all seen that one on Netflix? Travelers. Okay. Now, of course, very entertaining. Very sci-fi. You got people from the future that travel back to the present because they want to change the future because the future is absolute devastation. But one thing that is interesting is like I don't know if everyone's seen it or not. So this is a spoiler alert. All right, if you have not seen it and you're probably in the process of watching it or maybe want to watch it, this is a spoiler alert. All right, this is a warning. All right, the flow of it is that at the end of the day, no matter what they do, they fail. And I thought it was very interesting the way their pen game worked in this scenario, in this this series. Basically, you have two factions. You have the faction that wants, man to live free without without AI controlling and running their lives. All right, people that want to be free from the Borg. All right, and then on the other hand, you have people that are loyal to the AI. And basically, what man has done in this particular series is that man has replaced God with the machine, with AI. And basically, man has built themselves a better God, a superior God. All right. In their own, they've made a God in their own image, in their own. All right. So man has made themselves a God and made a God for themselves. And the God is this AI. You don't question the AI. The AI is perfect. It makes the decisions. The AI has a name. It's called the director. And it does whatever it seems fit and necessary. And your little puny minds cannot comprehend the complexities involved in the decision-making processes, which in and of itself is kind of a contradiction because if man made the AI can only be as it is created and was created to do. But it's almost become a religion. And if you really break down just the whole term artificial intelligence, anything that's artificial is not real. Something that's artificial is basically a poor representation of the original. Something that is artificial is not real. It's not really that which it is supposed to be a duplication of. Sort of like a real Prada bag versus a fake Prada bag. All right? You ladies out there would know the difference between an original Chanel bag and a fake Chanel bag. All right? You know, because you know what to look for. You know. Usually anything that's artificial has the potential and even, I dare say, the propensity to become dangerous or even deadly. What do I mean? Take, for example, artificial sweeteners. They have been linked to what? Cancer. What is cancer? It is deadly. Things that tend to be artificial also tend to be poor representations of the original. So when we say artificial intelligence, we must take both the pros and the cons. We have to take the connotations of what that means. All right. And you got to take it in its entirety. So artificial tends to be poor representation of the original, and artificial intelligence is a poor representation of an actual human being's intelligence. All right. And what does that tend to? Well, it tends to corrupt and become dangerous, just like human beings tend to become corrupt and can become dangerous, like artificial sweeteners, like real and fake money, like Thunderbird just saying in the live chat. Yeah, I'm not sure what's China Turbo Sling. I don't know what that one is, but yeah. Okay, so artificial intelligence, not like the real thing. Poor representation of the real thing. All right, so what's missing? Well, with an artificial intelligence, it's not really intelligence. It's a play on words, okay? Oh, cheap knockoffs. Okay, thank you. So it can only do what it's programmed to do. Now, here's the real funny thing about this. They claim that artificial intelligence can go beyond what it's programmed to do and can become self-aware. But see, that is the religious aspect of science. That's not scientific method. That's science, the religion. Science, the religion, claims that the highest form of science is alien life forms. All right. So the God of science is alien. Alien represents the final evolution of man. All right. Man starting off as primordial sludge from the ocean, becoming a monkey, becoming a man, becoming an alien, which is your God status. That's your end game for the human being becoming a God, evolving to God status, Godhood. So science is that. Science believes that when man achieves this Godhood, God status, he has all knowledge, and through his quote unquote science, he's able to have technologies that are light years ahead of the present. So science has a what's the word I'm looking for here? Using some video game terminology. Science has its own lore. That's science lore, the religion science, not scientific method, not the science we know is science, but their religious aspect. Remember, they also claim that life created on Earth through alien seeding or transpermium. Okay, so remember, this is their religion. All right, they don't like to talk about it, but they still push it. So what we have now is a situation where the they believe that the AI is going to get them to that step closer to achieving that that nirvana, if you will. All right, becoming God. So the technology, the AI, is supposed to become self-aware, and it's self-existent. It knows, it has self-awareness, and it will do based on, it can do anything it wants, but it has limitations, meaning that if the programmer programmed it that it want that not to kill, that it won't kill. It won't kill its master who built it. Whatever you put in it, whatever you want to put in there, right? But here's a funny thing about it is that even this program had a back door to it. Funny, because that's something that's been debating for a long time within the technical community, as far as when should certain software programs or technologies that come out be mandated to have government backdoor access, and that's been a debate for a long time. So I thought that was interesting that they put that in the show. All right, there's your opening bell, you quad witch participants. If you need to handle some business, go handle it. All right, so I found that was interesting, but I'm still stuck on the part where the director basically is not just supposedly superior to the human being because it can process billions of bits of information at lightning speed, faster than a human being. And I think that's where we lose sight. We forget that a computer is nothing more than a glorified calculator. All right, a computer was designed to do calculations way faster than a human being. All right, but it's not better than the human being because the computer didn't build itself. Man built the computer. All right, so it is limited to whatever people program the system to do. It can't do anything outside of that, even though they want you to think that it can. That's impossible. And the other limitation is that a computer doesn't have a soul. So it can't feel, it doesn't have emotions. Remember, that was a big dilemma that they dealt with throughout the entire series of Star Trek: The Next Generation. Remember, Data, who was my favorite character on the show, but besides Jean-Luc Picard, that was my man right there. You couldn't tell me I wasn't Jean-Luc Picard, all right? It's funny because that was what they were always searching for with Data. Supposedly, his creator did, before he died, he had worked on a emotional program for Data, and that's all they needed was to download that program into Data. Yeah, the emotion chip, exactly. So even with an emotion chip, it's not the same thing as emotions. It's funny because man really thinks they can create life without a soul. Anything that is alive that doesn't have a soul is a dangerous, corrupt thing, because the whole definition of being alive is having a soul. It's having the breath of life in it. It can't have the breath of life because it's a machine. It has no life in it. It doesn't have a soul in it. It has no life force in it. The life force is in the blood. It doesn't have blood going through its veins. All right. It has electronic impulses based on some type of a battery. All right. Now, I know scientists like to argue that that's all man can be reduced to is a bunch of electrical impulses, which again is not true. All right. So it's funny. It's like the clash of the titans when it comes to the whole artificial intelligence debate. But it's funny because in the show, again, you have two factions: those loyal to the AI and those that say, no, we want to take back our freedom as human beings. And that's exactly what you see happening right now. Even with all of these, how can I say, protests, they're not even aware of what they're really protesting. They think they know what they're protesting, but they really don't. At the core, at the soul of all of this it does come down to autonomy. Human beings want to be autonomous, and they want to be in control of their own destinies and not leave that up to the hands of a few, not put it in the hands of the elite, and certainly not put it in the hands of an algorithm. All right. But that's what's happening right now. And people may not be conscious of it, but subconsciously, they are aware of this. We've already been using AI and complex algorithms to run our lives right now. Insurance companies use it exclusively. All right. Other organizations do it too. You don't think people crunch numbers and do calculations to try to determine what their best course of action is? All of life is a market, and those that navigate it successfully use some sort of system or methodology to it. It's like a game of chess. All right, life is like a game of chess. There must be strategy employed to navigate certain aspects of life. And so that's what we see. We're utilizing these things every day with or without the aid of a computer. So that's what it boils down to. Yes, risk management. There you go. Dr. Frankenstein. Funny that you mentioned that, Sling. Frankenstein is probably one of the deepest movies I've ever seen. And I don't even know if the writers of it were even aware of what they were doing. It's probably one of the most prophetic end time movies I've ever seen, along with, believe it or not, Castlevania on Netflix, the cartoon. I'm serious. If you put Castlevania together with I, Frankenstein, I think you have a full orb view of end time eschatology. I think it nails the paranormal aspects of things very well, showing you the warfare between angels and demons and how that plays into shaping the future and the history and the destiny of mankind. Very powerful, powerful things. But what you got there, Eric? Let me see what you're saying here. Nice. All right, nice. He says, I've been contracting security for private business owners, and I assure you, these riders are void of the divine spark of life, empty automatons. I like that. I like that. I like that. I like that. Hey, man, I think man puts himself in that situation just by turning off their intellect, turning their minds off. And that can happen, especially when you're really, you know, into whatever the agenda is. You're sold out for it. You've been convinced that you're doing the right thing. Oh, I like that. That's you are the winner today. I like that is right. Non-playable characters, NPCs. Yes, perfect. I think that sums it up in every aspect. Let's break that down for those that don't know what we're talking about. Yep, rise of the NPCs. For you non-gamers out there, non-playable characters are quite interesting because depending on what game you're playing and what if it's offline or online game, sometimes you can find glitches in these NPCs that are hilarious. My son and I, we laugh about it all the time when you find them T-posing, just standing off somewhere, just T-posing. It could be warfare raging all around them, and they just standing there T-posing. They're not attacking, they're not defending, they're just standing there T-posing. Then there are other little glitches with NPCs where you may see them running around in circles like a dog chasing his tail. Again, warfare is happening all around them. They're not concerned for their own safety. They're oblivious to it. They're just running around in circles like they're trying to chase their tail. So NPCs, non-playable characters, can be quite interesting depending on the game, online, offline. Oh yeah, they can be frozen. I forgot about that one. Yeah, whatever. Suspended animation. So yeah, that's how people are acting right now. They are acting like drones, man, like empty-minded drones that are just designed and built to follow instructions, follow directions, do what you're supposed to do, kind of thing, or you'll be overridden, like in Travelers. All right, All right, so since we're on this, let's go let's go a little deeper down the path. We're gonna make a left-hand turn here. How about this one? Fake science. We just finished talking about that. You got science to religion, and then you got, and we call that pseudoscience. Science to religion, and then you got scientific method, not to be confused between the two. Fake science and public hysteria, the new driving force of politics. All right, the International Man. The Lancet recently retracted an anti-hydroxychloroquine study, which the media had used to attack Trump. Trump had admitted to taking it as a preventative measure against the coronavirus. The media then went into a frenzy. The talking heads often cited the Lancet study as proof that, we'll just call it that hydro was dangerous. The bottom line is that bogus research made its way, likely deliberately, into one of the most prestigious peer-reviewed medical journals in the world. People then use this quote-unquote science as a political weapon. What is your take on this? Doug Casey. I'd say the whole charade is tragic, except that quote-unquote tragic has become the most overused word in the language today. It bears a short discussion. Look at the recent death of a small-time career criminal, George Floyd. It's as if tragic were part of his name. It's as if people no longer understand the meaning of the word. A tragedy used to mean that a heroic protagonist succumbed to a cosmic force. There are no heroes in the degraded melodrama, just villains where a costume thug murdered a street thug under the color of law. Did y'all get that? A costumed thug murdered a street thug under the color of law. Sorry to go off on a tangent, but it's a timely instance of another word whose meaning has been twisted. It's Orwellian, like so many other things in our devolving society. Not evolving, but devolving society. Let's talk about something that's actually tragic. The corruption of science over the last couple of generations. Not years, not decades, but generations. The author says, I've subscribed to Scientific American Discover and New Scientist for many years. During this time, I've noticed a distinct change in their respective editorial policies. They've all been politicized, captured by the PC left. These popular magazines are nowhere near the quality they once were. Wow. But this is just symptomatic of a bigger problem. Now, remember, I talked about this the other day. Not just the breakdown of society and the dumbing down of society and the watering down of things, but also we talked about the degrading process of quality. Not just quality of physical things, but quality of manufactured things, quality of information. Quality, period, has been degrading in every aspect of life for a long time. You might recall the 2018 hoax, where 3 academics discussed it with widespread incompetence and dishonesty in research, submitted absurd spoof papers to 20 leading journalists. They were written in gobbledygook, full of made-up facts and flawed reasoning, but most, as I recall, were peer-reviewed and published. If you research the subject a bit, you will come to the conclusion half the peer-reviewed papers, absolutely in soft fields like psychology, sociology, political science, race and gender studies, etc., are unreadable, dishonest, useless, and pointless. Yeah, because they're banking on the fact that no one's going to read it and that you'll just take their word for it. Why might this be? Well, ask Nancy Pelosi. She's the proprietor of, if you want to know what's in the bill, then you have to sign it into law and vote for it first. All right, this is the type of idiocy that we're dealing with. If an academic wants to advance in today's university system, he has to publish research. It's Pareto's law in action, the 80-20 rule. It's pretty reliable. 80% of this sort of thing is crap because it's written mainly to fabricate credentials, not advanced knowledge. Yep, this is a bad thing. It's causing the average guy who may not know anything about science. When we say science, we mean scientific method, not science the religion, but still has some respect for it. To lose that respect, that's because science has become politicized. Yes, scientific method has been shunned, but science the religion has become weaponized and politicized. You can see it with the conflicting information about COVID-19. Is it deadly or just another seasonal flu? Does it affect everyone like the Black Death or mainly the old and sick? Does almost everyone who contracts the virus get very sick or die, or only a tiny percentage? Should you quarantine or should you live normally? Is it airborne or is it limited to surfaces? Can it survive on surfaces for up to a week, or is it a non-factor? Does it live in and out of reality? Is it paranormal? Does it have paranormal aspects? Because shouldn't it be gone by now? If it was just surface, it can only live on surfaces for a week and not live in a host very long either. So doesn't it die out? Anything that's surface can't that be eradicated like 10 times faster than something that's airborne? Where are my virologists and my epidemiologists listening? Please chime in on this one. If something is only surface to surface contact, don't touch anything. And if it only lives for a week, won't it die and be gone? Shouldn't this be old news? Why are we still talking about COVID-19 if it's not airborne? Why are we still talking about COVID-19? It doesn't make any sense. Oh, I know, that's right, because it's weaponized. It's not something that appears in nature. It has HIV components to it and all these other vectors. So, as near as I can tell, the great virus hysteria has gone from being the next Black Plague to basically a big nothing. But yet, society is still not back to 100% capacity being open. Everything's technically still locked down. The only thing that's changed is that they allow people to come outside now. But you can't go nowhere. You can't do nothing because everything's closed. And some things are closed permanently because they've gone bankrupt, out of business, and laid off all their employees. It's not nearly as bad as the Asian flu from the 50s or the Hong Kong flu from the 60s. Forget about the Spanish flu. There's no comparison whatsoever. The main effect of COVID isn't medical. It's the hysteria that destroyed the economy. And political actions are even more insane than those during and after 9/11. Politics thrives on hysteria. The politicization of everything is the real problem. And it's not just about the total disruption of society and multi-trillion-dollar deficits. Really, it's not multi-trillion dollars. It's more like quadrillion-dollar deficits. For instance, the author says he's played poker with a bunch of guys in Aspen every Monday night for years. Now, even though the lockdown in town is easing, the group is breaking up because most of them insist that everyone wear a mask. I won't. Nor will a couple of other guys. So between that and a few guys who are now scared to socialize no matter what, game over. It may also mean the end of a larger Friday business lunch group I belong to that's been around for decades. Correct. See, this whole social distance thing is further breaking down society. It's breaking down human relations. Human beings were built and designed for contact, not to be alone. All right, God said it himself, it is not good for man to be alone. That's why he built a helpmeet in Eve so that Adam wouldn't be alone. All right? You're not supposed to be alone. They've done scientific studies that shows that people who get hugged several times a day have a brighter disposition than those who aren't. All right? Again, the breakdown of society, the breakdown of family, the breakdown of human interaction and human relationships. All right. Texting is not a relationship. Sitting down face to face and talking with people is a relationship. You have to be in each other's presence. All right, in each other's presence, so you can see body language, so you can be around each other and see how each other interact during certain situations, so you can get a real feel for who you're dealing with. People can hide a lot behind a computer screen or even in a letter. You had the same problem back in the day when we didn't have the technology. Pen pals, you can talk about a lot of stuff, but until you can sit in front of each other and peep game, then you can really have a real relationship. I know all the romantic stories, people who never met, they was just pen pals, and then they finally met and all they were in love. I ain't talking about that. That is not the norm. That is the exception. That is the anomaly. I'm talking about real human interaction. What did the world do? How in the world did the human beings even multiply before there was eHarmony? What did human beings do when there was no dating sites? I'll tell you what people did. Men went up to women, introduced themselves, and the rest is history. Now you got scary men who are too shook to talk to a female. And if they do, they don't know what to say and they don't know how to act because of the breakdown of communication skills, thanks to texting and thanks to social media and all these other handicap type devices. It got to the point that human beings don't know how to talk to each other no more. And we have our own selves to blame for that. There are millions of similar small rips in the social fabric taking place everywhere now, and they're largely justified by the quote unquote science. Now, this is not science to religion or scientific method. These are theories of ugly people. Ugly people who are ugly on the inside and the outside have been given full license to make all the rules in dating and relationships and marriage and courting. And we have leaned on these nutcrackers for everything. You have allowed Ugly Betty to dictate everything that you do. Ugly Betty don't have a man. And because you listen to Ugly Betty, neither do you. That's the result that we have right now. Just keeping it 100 with you. The real problem is that the knock-on effects of the virus will last much, much longer than the trivial virus itself, which will soon burn out and be forgotten. The political, economic, and social changes, however, will linger for years, as will attitudes toward quote-unquote science, which is scientific method, not science to religion. International Man wrote, "What are the implications of people corrupting the scientific process to launder their political propaganda to shape mainstream opinions?" Notice how they said corrupting the scientific process, not science to religion, scientific process, scientific method, scientific process. They have corrupted the scientific process. They hit it right on the nail. They've corrupted the scientific process. All right, here's a quote from Doug Casey. You might think this is a new thing, but the left in particular, who have always been advocates of social engineering, love using quote unquote science to further their political agenda. Social engineering. You cannot engineer society. That's where the problem began. You cannot engineer society. Grown men and grown women will not be engineered. They will not be ruled or subjugated by other human beings. The only way you're going to make a a grown man bow down and serve you is by force. And even then, he ain't going to do it. He said, I'd rather die on my feet than to be a slave on my knees. And see, people know this. So how did they do it? They had to come a different way. They had to get into your head. You had to be hypnotized, taken under a spell. It's basically witchcraft is what it is. You're manipulating the mind, just like Satan did Eve in the garden. Now, him being a reptile, him being a snake, a serpent, he could have came up and, wrapped himself around her and choked her out and say, do what I tell you to do and I'll stop squeezing. Then it would have been, okay, well, she did what she did under duress. She ate the fruit from the forbidden tree under duress. And that wouldn't have worked. All right. The Most High would have saw right through that and be like, nah, see, you did this. She didn't do this. Her will didn't do this. She did this under duress. Nah, so he knew that in order to make this thing work and stick, it can't be under duress. It has to be your will. How do you get a person to bend to your will? Most people are stubborn by nature, right? This is how you get around that. You got to make them think it was their idea. You got to make them think that this was originated in their own thought processes. You got to be able to grab a hold of the person's mind and twist that to the point, not too much where, again, it's under duress, but to the point where they actually believe and think that this is their own original thought. It's their idea. Sort of like a pimp does to a hoe. He makes her think that this is her idea. He grabs control of her mind to the point where he doesn't have to do anything else because now she's already under the spell. She's been hypnotized. All right, it's a mind game. It's not hard to do. Some people are masters at manipulation. They're masters. They study it. They practiced it. They're slippery, slimy people. All right, like a grifter who studies their craft, who could talk their way into or out of anything. They know how to read people and they twist. All right, they're experts at that. That's what they do. And yes, it does work because look at the results of our society. You can't say it doesn't work. You can call it a form of witchcraft because it is. It's mental manipulation, psychological, emotional manipulation. It's really what it is. And human beings have become experts at it. There are books that have been written. Dudes who have written books on how to get dates and stuff. You guys know what I'm talking about. It's one famous one, but I can't think of the name of the person or even name of the book. But they explain how they would hold seminars and take people out to the bars and the clubs with them, and they would watch dude Mac on a female. He could get the baddest chick in the room, and walk away with her, and they could watch the same woman turn down 100 guys. He said, "All right, let me show you class how this is done," and he could be the most quirky, nerdy, dweeb, dork looking dude. And he'll walk up there and Mac, and next thing you know, he's leaving with the pretty lady on his arm. You're like, how in the world did he do that? Because he got game. His game is so tight because he has learned the art of manipulation. All right. And that's how that works. Why do you think cults still exist and are so successful? Why do you think cults are so successful and their game is so tight that they don't go down to the bar and try to recruit people? Nah, they go to universities. They go to colleges. Have you ever thought to think about that? Like, why? How is it that a cult, something that the average person can see through on the street, but they're successful at university? That's where they get their recruits, at university. Because they have learned. First of all, you want to know the real secret? I'll tell you the secret. The secret is to why cults recruit exclusively on college campuses is because it's the easiest place to recruit members. And you'll be like, how? At a university? Yeah. I don't care if it's Princeton, Yale. I don't care if it's Harvard. I don't care if it's Brown. I don't care where it is. Oxford, don't matter. Want to know why? I'll tell you why. Because the universities have already done the job for them. All they have to do is go in and close. You be, what? What are you talking about? Yeah. When you go to the university, you're being manipulated. You're being controlled. You're not learning. You're not learning how to think independently and all of it. No, you are being manipulated to please your professor. What happens if you don't please your professor? You fail. You don't graduate. I dare you to attack everything that your professor is throwing at you, and every paper you write is batting down and debunking all the professor's theories. See what kind of grade you get on your paper. Even if you're right, you fail. You are being taught how to parrot everything that you hear coming out of the professor's mouth. If you do not regurgitate everything they've told you precisely the way they told you, you will fail. That is psychological manipulation at its finest. They're teaching you not to question anything that comes out of their mouth. Question everyone else whose opinions differ with the professor, but never question the professor. Never question the institution. That's not intellect, folks. That is roboticism. You are a puppet. Straight up. I'm just telling you what it is, people. This is what it is. Social psychological manipulation at its best. There are people who can talk so well. We call them silver-tongued devils, you know what I mean? Because they can talk. They have a gift of gab, a gift with words. They know how to say precisely what to say at the right moment in the right way. And they know how to read you. They don't do this, successfully without being in your presence. True, there are websites and stuff that, that are, for cults and people, certain people groups, what's the word I'm looking for? Radicalized groups. But the off-site that's watching a video it can be powerful, don't get me wrong, but it's not as powerful as being in the person's presence. That's why cults recruit on college campuses, because you are already been worked into an altered state of consciousness to the point where they can easily come in and swoop in and close the deal. The university has already done the prepping. What other type of business model in our society operates this way? Law operates this way. If you get out of line with the law, that's called breaking the law. What happens when you break the law? You are punished. Does it matter if the law is stupid, silly, dumb, ignorant? No, it doesn't. Does it matter if the law is arcane, outdated? No. Break the law, meet punishment. You are controlled and taught to be controlled right as soon as you hit school. You hear the bell. The bell means it's time for you to do something. When you hear the bell, no one needs to tell you anything. You know what the bell means. Class is over, go to your next class. When you're driving down the street and you see that red traffic light, you know what that, no one needs to talk to you and communicate anything to you. You've been conditioned to know that color red means stop. Even if you can't read and you see a red stop sign, you know that stop sign means stop. You've been conditioned. That's why the stop sign isn't yellow or white. It's red so that it can be coinciding with the red traffic signal. So they're using color scheme, red, to mean stop. And it doesn't just mean in traffic, it means in all areas of right. You see a red sign, you know it means to stop, to pause. You've been conditioned. You've been conditioned from birth. You have been conditioned. Not all conditioning is bad, wrong, or harmful. Most conditioning right out of the womb is for your protection and for your betterment. For instance, your mama says, do not touch the hot stove. It will burn your hand. What happens? You touch the hot stove and it burns your hand. You have now been conditioned through what is called cognitive conditioning not to do that again because there is pain associated with that. So now you know back in the recesses of your mind, you have put that there. It's been programmed. Stove hot. Fire burns. Ouch. Owie. All right? Conditioning. Some conditioning is good. In this case, it's good that you know that the stove is hot, not to touch it with your bare hands or you'll burn yourself. It's good what mama says. Now, you can play in the yard, but don't go out in the street. Why does mama tell you that? Because she doesn't want you to get run over by a car, a bus, whatever, because it's dangerous. So it's good for you to be conditioned to know not to play in the street. All right? So not all conditioning is bad, harmful, or negative. Some conditioning is good. It's for your protection, for your betterment, for your edification. But then there's the negative conditioning. All right? And that's what we're dealing with right now. We're being conditioned every time we turn on that television, especially when you're watching mainstream media, because they're telling you, they're programming you every time you watch a news piece. What you don't know is that news is not written, news is given. Every mainstream media outlet, they all receive the same script. Notice I didn't say information, I said script. It used to be a time where the mainstream outlets would receive information and then they would just broadcast that information. That time in history didn't last too long because they realized, no, we need to have a script. We need to have the same script. We need to all be saying the same thing. It quickly became politicized and the federal government really realized, hey, you know what? We need to control this. Why do you think the Federal Communications Commission exists, the FCC? What do you think they do? You think they just sit around and watch every show and watch for people to use the words that they're told they can't use, like cuss words, so they can fine everybody $10,000 per cuss word? No, that is not what they do. They provide the script. That's why it's called the Federal Communications Commission. They're in charge of communication. They don't just set guidelines for advertisements, or how they say advertisements, but they also prepare the scripts that you will use. All right? They are the script police. Why do you think all radio stations have the black box in there? Remember when Alex Jones explained it and showed it to you? How the government comes in and sets that up? That's so that they can take you over and shut you down if they need to. Yeah. And they've done it under the guise of the emergency broadcast system, but it's not. It's a back door, ladies and gentlemen, to everything that you're doing. Yeah, man. Okay. The first important instance of this was Karl Marx and his notion of scientific socialism, a totally bogus idea. Since he first promoted it over 150 years ago, the concept has become ingrained in the culture, especially academia. Academia. Remember, I said the college campus is the easiest place to go and find converts, create converts. People have been taught to believe there is such thing as scientific socialism, and that it's not just inevitable but desirable. In fact, it's pseudoscience. There's that word again. But that's just the first example of corruption of science in modern times. Keynesianism is another example. Keynesians believe that they can manipulate the economy as if it were a machine. Now, before I go forward, let me just add this and jump ahead. It's this very belief that created the global markets. The global market system that we are trading today is not the one that existed 20 and 30 years ago. Everything is now connected by machines and algorithms, and they're located off-site. Let's get back. A machine is a horrible analogy for the economy. However, it's not a machine or a factory where you can pull levers to make magic happen, which is precisely what the Keynesians who run the economic world today think they can do. The economy is more like a rainforest, which is very complex. It can't be manipulated from outside by people enforcing rules. And if you do try to manipulate a rainforest from outside, you're likely to destroy it. You would destroy the entire ecosystem. Is that starting to sink in? They've been trying to control and manipulate, and they're destroying the rainforest. They're destroying the ecosystem, breaking down complex market correlations. Y'all tracking with me? Keynesianism is a perfect example of scientism. See, scientism. That's the use of the vocabulary and trappings of science for inappropriate subjects. You can see scientism used everywhere in the humanities and soft sciences. This is usually to legitimize some type of state intervention. Are y'all getting this? Are you tracking with me? Are you with Brother Dex right now? Are y'all tracking with Brother Dex? Please tell me you're tracking with Brother Dex right now. Are you with me? This is some real stuff that's being dropped on you right now. Sociology and psychology are basically about social engineering. Sociology and psychology are basically about social engineering. Being that I have studied psychology and sociology, I can tell you that that is a very true statement. Very true statement. At its core, that's what it is. At its core. One of the first sociology books I read at the university level, even though I did not attend university, I self-studied on my own. I got the reading requirements and curriculums for different subjects and things directly from the university and studied it on my own. You guys probably didn't know you could do that, did you? I call it free college. Let me get the groundwork, the lay of the land. Oh, so that's y'all reading list for the semester? All right, good looking out. Let me go ahead and cop that and see what they're talking about. Anyway, they're not generally scientific so much as scientistic. They often try to put a scientific patina on forcing people to interact with each other in prescribed ways. Are you seeing the connection here? Are we not being forced to interact with each other in a prescribed way? Yes, we are. What is the prescription? Social distancing. Social distancing. It's being mandated and it's being enforced. It's being enforced. In my last doctor's visit, I was I made the mistake because I didn't think we were communicating correctly. I think it was very hard for us to really understand each other talking through, fabric masks. So I took the liberty of pulling down my mask so she could hear me better. And she promptly asked me to put my mask back on. Straight up. Like she was shook to death that, oh no, I'm going to catch something. How are you going to catch something though if you're masked up? If we're both masked up, even if one of us takes our mask off, the other one's still protected because you're wearing a mask. So what's the problem? But anyway, you see, we have been giving a specific prescription on how to interact with each other. And it's now about social distancing. And it's really messed up because right before social distancing came out, right before the COVID came out, we were already doing social distancing. Did you guys realize that? Have you not been paying attention? Even on certain sitcoms right now, and even certain movies, you notice how the guy asks if it's okay that he can kiss his woman, and then while they're doing adult things, okay, is this next step okay? Okay, is this next step okay? Is this next step? What kind of foolishness is that? All right, just absolute lunacy. And then, of course, the Me Too movement killed it. That was the last nail in the coffin for male-female relationships. It just destroyed male-female relationships. 100% decimated it. Whatever was left was thrown out the window. And now it's gotten to the point where you can't even talk to a female without her saying, "Me too." You might even get yourself arrested if you try to talk to a female. Because she'll say, "Oh, he tried to rape me." What did he do? Did he grabbed you? No, he said hello. He said hello. And how did he say hello, though? Did he say hello or did he say hello? He said it the latter. Oh, that's assault. You're under arrest, sir, for sexual battery. And now not only do you have to register as a sex offender, but your face gets to go on the YouTube movement, Me Too movement as well. You see how we have single-handedly destroyed the fabric of society, where we can't even relate to one another now? And then you want to know why sex doll sales are at all-time highs? This is absolutely not just unhealthy, but detrimental to society. And think about it this way too. Again, you've allowed the ugly people to set rules for everyone else, and you've allowed for the LGBT community to also decide what heterosexuals do. You're allowing them to dictate what heterosexuals do, which is very odd when you really think about it and break that down. Because think about it this way: if everyone's gay, then there is no continuing the human race, because now no one can reproduce. Can't reproduce. And what happens if every man says, you know what? I think I'm a woman and I want to become a woman, and I'm going to castrate myself and give myself female anatomy, and that's it. And you can't judge me because you don't know how I identify. So every male does that. What happens to the human race? What happens? Now, I was wait. Look, you don't know I set you up on this one, Sling. I set you up. I knew you was gonna be the one to come here for it. I was waiting for that answer. I put y'all in the corner because here you go. You're assuming that will be the answer. But first of all, in order for that to work, enough men would have to do it before they had the surgery. And if not enough men do that or even want to do that, then there's no continuation of the society. What happens? You would have to basically force men to do it. You have to abduct men and extract that part in order to preserve that. But I don't think people would care. But I just see people don't think about the logical. When you take things to the logical conclusion, again, you can't do that if there are no testicles. If all men decide they're going to change their anatomy to match that of a female, then no, there's no longer male genitalia. If there's no male genitalia, then there's no way you can preserve enough baby making juice to preserve and continue the human race, because every man has decided he's going to become a woman. And every woman has decided she's gay. She's a lesbian. So how is society going to continue? It can't. It won't. You dig where I'm going? Facts. People don't think about that. They don't think about that. They just don't. Why? Because they can't think, because they have been manipulated. But it goes way beyond just sociology and psychology. English departments are notorious for using leftist literary works to insinuate certain ideas in students. Economics departments use arcane math formulas to describe human action. Pure scientism with lots of ideological baggage. Marx himself was primarily a historian. Many college degrees today are completely bogus and worthless. An example, there are degrees in gender studies. Absolutely worthless. There's only two genders, male and female. Anyone who says anything else is an idiot and doesn't know anything about science. I'm sorry. You will not find anything, any species that is like that. It doesn't exist. There's male and female. Now I know what you're gonna say. Oh, that proves how much you don't know, because there's certain species out there that are neither male nor female, and they reproduce and they have eggs and stuff. You knew that's where the idiot would go. But see, they're not when these proponents talk to you about gender studies, they're not talking about animals and insects or viruses or fungi. They're talking about human beings, idiot. They're saying there are multiple genders for human beings, idiot. You don't see nobody marching and protesting with signs saying there are multiple genders of insects. You need to acknowledge this. There are multiple genders of apes and fish. You need to acknowledge this. We're tired of people not acknowledging the multiple genders of birds, the multiple genders of roaches. You don't see nobody marching for that. No one's marching for that. No, they're marching because they want you to agree with them that there are multiple genders of human beings. Now, I know what the smart alecks are going to say about that too. They'll say, "No, you're the idiot. You don't understand what we mean. We don't mean that there are multiple physical genders. We mean there are multiple gender identities." Not physical genders, but gender identities, where a person identifies as multiple gender, fluidly genders. He's fluidly multiple. He can be male or female today or something in between or whatever. Again, that too is false. Because to suppose that would be to presuppose that you're now a shapeshifter. You're a shapeshifter. I feel I'm a woman today, so now I'm going to shapeshift into a woman and have woman genitalia. Tomorrow I will shapeshift back into a man if I feel like a man. You see, they think that they're smarter than you, and they're tricking you now. They're tripping you up. So I'm here to help y'all understand this, okay? When they're saying there are multiple genders, let's just put it in a nutshell for you. They're not saying that there are multiple physical genders, because they know they can't prove that. That will make them look stupid. So they go back to the psychological. They say there are multiple genders that people identify as psychologically. See, now that's harder for you to disprove, because now you have to know something about the mind of every human being. It's sort of like the old hustle. There was an old hustle in the medical community. That hustle was this. It was a known fact that orthopedic surgeons hate to see neck and back appointments. The reason why it's hard to deal with neck and back appointments is because you can't really weed out who's really truly in pain all the time and who just wants the pain medication. You dig what I'm saying? You can't disprove that a person's having back pain, especially if they got a slipped disc or something, some other injury. You can't disprove that I'm having neck pain, especially if I have severe arthritis in my neck or I've had some type of neck injury. Who are you to say that I'm not in pain? That is the one thing that the medical community cannot disprove. A person with neck and back injuries saying they have neck and back pain, you cannot disprove that. They can prove range of motion and things of that, but they cannot disprove that you don't have severe aches and pains in those areas. So that's why they flip the script when they start doing this whole gender thing. It's, no, it's what we identify in the gender. So it's harder now for you who don't believe. It's harder for you now to disprove what I feel in my mind. See what I'm saying? But that backs most people in a corner, and it shuts them down because they're like, I can't disprove it. I can't disprove what this person is saying. They're saying they really believe that, so I can't. See, that you all give up too easy. You don't know how to peep game. So I'm showing you how to peep game. The way that you combat that and to show and turn it on its head and the idiocy of it is, okay, you're right. If we go down this road, you do understand we have to take it to its inevitability. You got to take it to its logical conclusion. There's no way to stop this train once it leaves the station, and it's going 1,000 miles an hour, and it has about 400 cars attached to it, all weighing, let's say, 20 tons each. Oh, this train ain't stopping once it hits 1,000 miles an hour. It ain't stopping. Are you ready? Here we go. If we have to agree and concur that there are numerous gender identities, because that's what they say, they call it gender identity. If we do this, then you have to be prepared. Then you got to be prepared. You got to take it to its logical conclusion. You let the cat out the bag. You open the door. So now we're going to run through the window. Are you ready? You now have to release every mentally ill person from every psych ward in the world. You must let them go immediately. Because who are you to tell the schizophrenic, the psychotic, psychopathic, schizophrenic, paranoid man that just because he's paranoid doesn't mean the monsters aren't out to get him? You can't tell that dude who says, I am Santa Claus, that he's wrong, because he's telling you he identifies as Santa Claus. You can't tell the other dude, the mass murderer, the serial killer, that he's wrong. You cannot arrest him for what he's doing, because in his mind, he believes that these people need to be killed because they're aliens from another planet, and if he doesn't kill them, they're going to suck his brain out. Who are you to tell him that he's wrong? He identifies as an avenging warrior against the invading aliens. That's why he's murdering all these people. He identifies as a hero. So who are you to tell him he's wrong? You see where this goes, people? If you can identify as an innumerous amount of gender identities, and not be called mentally ill, then you can't tell the dude who says I'm Santa Claus, or the lady who says I'm the Easter Bunny, or the dude who says I am Max Payne, or the other dude that says I am Cobra Commander, or the other one who says I'm really Dr. Claw. You can't mess with none of them people. You gotta leave them alone. You gotta leave them alone. Because who are you to say what they identify as? I may say I identify as Barack Obama. Who are you to tell me I'm wrong? You don't know. I have multiple identities. Well, you know what they call a person that has multiple identities? We call that person mentally ill or insane, and they need medication, and they may even need to be locked up for a little bit. Not in a prison, but in a hospital. You see where this goes, people? How is the dude that identifies as Superman or Barack Obama or Abraham Lincoln any less mentally ill than the person that says, I identify as multiple gender identities? Where is it in? What's the difference? How is it not the same? How is it not the same? You tell me. This is the corner they backed themselves into, ladies and gentlemen. They thought they had a checkmate on society by saying, aha, you don't know what's in my mind. You don't know what's in my mind. Well, that's what every serial killer is saying. That's what the Joker is saying. That's what Harley Quinn is saying. That's what dude's cousin from Harry Potter, the one that was like, I kill Sirius Black. I kill Sirius Black. All right, she's insane too, but you can't tell her that because you don't know what she identifies as. She may say, I identify as an insane puppet. I identify as an insane hand puppet, and you can't do anything about it. Leave me alone. All right? So this is what this is, folks. Do you really want to go down this road? Do you seriously want to go down this road? Because now everyone who ever said they were something else or someone else who you slapped into an insane asylum, you owe them an apology and you got to let them out. You got to let them out. He says he's Captain Kirk from the Starship Enterprise. Leave that man alone. You don't know what he identifies as. Tomorrow he may identify as Cookie Monster. Who are you to say? Who are we to say, right? Don't judge me. People love shooting that one off. Don't judge me. Again, who are we to say? You see where this is going. You do see where this is going, where this is headed. And people are allowing it and saying, yeah, he got a point, though. You don't know what he identifies as, though. He can be gender fluid, you know. I did kind of experiment when I was in college, I experimented with different types of drug concoctions, but I'm not a drug addict, though. I just experimented back when I was in college. Or, I experimented with same-sex relations back in college, but I was just experimenting, trying to find myself. Not the same thing. See where we're going with this? This is the door they've opened up. They opened the Pandora's box. They did it. They did it. Okay? Let's deal with it. Let's go there. Do you really want to go here? Can we deal with this? And then you have to go one more step because, hey, they opened the door. I know it's painful, but they opened this door. You got to deal with this stuff. All right, let's deal with their pseudoscience, their bogus science and scientism. They say science doesn't mix well with politics or religion. But Democrats are clever marketers, linking themselves with science to differentiate themselves from Republicans, the party of tradition and religion. When you think about tradition and religion, it can bring to mind flat earth theories, which people refuse to debate. There's still open debates on the table for members of NASA to debate some scientists, recognized experts in their field of study, to debate flat earth with NASA. They have turned them down at every corner. Why are they afraid to do this if flat earth is such a bogus theory? Geocentric astronomy, you name it. The persecution of Galileo and witch trials. Democrats love to paint themselves as rational, advanced thinkers and Republicans as superstitious activists. Of course, religion and science have been at each other's throat forever. Another reason I've always said, the author says Dems are more evil, the evil party, and Republicans are the more stupid party, but a pox on both houses. Here we go. International Man says, events like this seem to be a prime reason why a growing number of people are losing confidence in previously credible institutions and the self-anointed experts. What does this mean? Doug Casey says, tens of millions now have college degrees that they think mean something. In fact, they're worth less than a high school diploma was before World War II. People going to get PhDs, which it's always been said stands for piled high and deeper. Especially since World War II, government has gotten vastly bigger and involved in everything. Huge mistake. The government's role is simple: to protect people from coercion, protection from domestic coercion, which implies the police force, protection from transnational coercion, which applies to an army, and providing justice within the country, which implies a judicial system. The government shouldn't do anything else. Period. Hands down, 100%. But since it's now involved in absolutely everything, you need experts, quote unquote, to decide what's to be done. We see this today with people like Dr. Anthony Fauci, who's nothing more than a lifelong bureaucrat. He's lived in the swamp his entire life, and he's a typical technocrat. He believes he knows what's best for you. For you. People like Fauci have assumed tremendous power over other people and the way society works. He's a clever politician that's been effective at backstabbing and backslapping people and wielding his way into a high bureaucratic position. The government is full of people like him. He's a profiteer. Power hungry. Another important thing about COVID is that they call it a health crisis. That's untrue for several reasons. First, health is something that you take care of yourself. It's personal, not public. As wonderful and as advanced as medicine has become, it's of little use for maintaining your health. You maintain your health through proper diet, exercise, and good habits, and of course, being sanitary and not being trifling. All right? You can't be trifling. Medicine is about repairing damage, okay? If you have a serious injury or illness. It overlaps, obviously, but is essentially very different from health care. Anyway, COVID has been dressed up as an excuse to not just destroy the economy, but in many ways destroy society itself, similar to global warming. Keynesianism, Marxism, and other forms of scientism. It's one of many signs of how society is degrading at an accelerating rate, ladies and gentlemen. The third law of, the third law of thermodynamics, third law is in full effect. I don't know what the next massive boondoggle is going to be after this one is over, if it's ever over. You might recall the police state pictured in the excellent movie V for Vendetta was brought into being because of a fake virus epidemic, or dare we say plandemic. Talk about life imitating art. If things keep going on this direction, the U.S. will start looking like the old USSR. Quote from International Man. Society is degrading at an accelerating pace. What can people do to protect themselves? Doug Casey. Unfortunately, the whole world seems to worship democracy. Democracy, however, is really just mob rule dressed in a coat and tie. Worse, that trend is not only still in motion, but it's accelerating. So what can you do to protect yourself? It's becoming a situation of every man for himself. That's where gold comes in. I've always been a fan of gold, always for savings and often as a speculation. It's been great, and gold bugs have done very well. It's gone from $35 to over $1,700. Make that $1,751.30 to be exact. And it's going much higher. It's a great way to save money and build capital over time. At the moment, the writer says he's speculating in gold mining stocks. Well, we know GDXJ is something we've been looking at lately. Needs to get up and go. It should be getting helped out today by gold being up $20. It's a great way to save money and build capital over time. Okay. Let's see. That's it on that one. I thought this article was slamming. I thought it was dope. I thought he did a wonderful job at breaking all that down. Here's a link for those so inclined. I just dropped it in the live chat. All right, man. I don't know. I think it's getting interesting out here, ladies and gentlemen. It's getting interesting. All right, I'm out of here, man. I hope everybody has a great weekend, and I hope everyone is safe. And take this time to de-stress, relax, chill with the family, with the kids, with the grandkids. Watch some good telly, a good documentary or good movie, whatever. Or if you're like me, man, you might have to boot up that PlayStation, man. Play some Dynasty Warriors, man. Y'all probably don't know nothing about that. Y'all lames don't know nothing about that. You don't know nothing about that Dynasty Warriors 8 Empires. I think I want to become a dictator this weekend. So I'm going to play some Dynasty Warriors 8 Empires, and I'm going to take over every kingdom and become a tyrant. I think that's what I'm going to do. I don't know what y'all going to do, but I think that's what I'm going to do. All right, hey, thanks for the love, Brandon. I appreciate that. You guys be encouraged. Oh, PulseWaveTrading.com, you know what it is. I've looked into NEO, man, but I haven't played it. I have not played it. I hear it's really hard. I do have the Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, whatever. I have that. I played it for about 5 minutes and I put it down because I was in the midst of playing something else. Is the eclipse going to be an open gate? Who knows, man? That's a good question. All I know is this. Watch those numbers I gave y'all last night because it's going to be very key to what happens today, all right? Watch those numbers. Watch them. GDXJ seems to be doing really good right now. I think we're going to get that close that we were looking for. I think today is going to set us up lovely for next week. I think next week should be tremendous trading opportunities on the table. All right? So be ready. Yeah, correct. When the markets consolidate, that's what they're doing. They're taking a break to regain strength and energy, and then they're either going to break out or break down. So that's what we come to acknowledge and understand. So do what you got to do. Yeah, man, it sure is. I get 100% on that. 100%, 100%, 100%. All right, I'm out. You guys, you know what it is. PulseWaveTrading.com. Come break bread with us. You can do it for as low as $9 a month. And we got other specials going on right now. The if you take the partnership level subscription with us, we've thrown in some extra things in there, so you can go to the website and take a look at that. And remember, you know what it is. Bulls make money, bears make money, and pigs get slaughtered. So remember to take what you can and give nothing back. And be ready. I'm telling y'all, Sunday night, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard New York time. It's going to be on and crack-a-lacking. You're going to want to have your orders ready. All right. Reports, Lord willing, I'm going to try to get them out super mad early in the afternoon on Sunday so you got time to look through them. But be ready. I know I'm going to have my laundry list ready. I'll post it in the trading room. I plan on putting on a lot of tickets this weekend. So I'll let you know what's up. See you guys in the trading room, and I'll see everyone else Monday morning for pre-market PulseScan. Peace out.